Thomas Dolby is the subject of our pop profile at 12:05. Now on Scottish Nighttime, Alison Craig takes to the roads and travels this country to meet big country, most definitely local heroes.
Well, here we are at Dunfermline Football Club, the home of Dunfermline Football Club. But more often than not, every Saturday during the football season, one man that can be heard screaming extremely loudly from the stand, none other than Stuart Adamson of Big Country. For the past 2 years, Big Country have been recording their new album, Buffalo Skinners. They've also had a change of label from Phonogram to Chrysalis. We're going to be chatting to the band today, right in the middle of their current tour, and finding out a little bit more.
We've been through a situation over the past couple of albums where people who were working with the group, the guys who signed us to the record company had left, and we were trying to get a relationship going with other people. They had one idea of what Big Country should be, and we had a very different one. And I think when you're trying to start up a new relationship like that, you're quite willing to come and go with people. And it's only with hindsight I realise that any time I've let someone have that kind of involvement in the band, all it's done is dilute our own personal vision of what it is that we want to do. We've always had a very strong idea of what we feel the band is about, what we feel we should be doing. And I think that with this record we've been able to do that. You know, we've been able to simply go and make the record that we want to make and then hand it over to the record company, which I feel is how it should be. That's how we used to make records in the past. I'm a great traditionalist. I believe that all you should do is set up the microphones and record the performance. That's what I do. I like to record quickly and very spontaneously. And really this record is the sound of that. It's pretty much representative of what the way we feel we are as a group, and we're highly delighted with it.
You've changed record company since the release of the last album now, from Phonogram to Chrysalis. What was the reasoning behind that?
It was shite.
Oh, they were shite. They were garbage.
No.
I'll ask that question again.
What happened was I got to a point where they couldn't work with us and we couldn't work with them, and it was just stalemate, you know.
Were they trying to have too much of an influence on how your records were going to sound, or?
Yeah, well, the first two
I don't
albums,
know what they were trying to do.
The first two records kind of were hits on their own, you know, because we were a new band, a new attitude, and we did things slightly differently. But then it's almost like, in order for the record company to keep the success level up, they all of a sudden tried to take over and say, well, look, we know what you do best, you know, do it the way that we... but they didn't have a clue, to be honest. And it just went downhill from then, and, you know, we didn't lose interest, but the magic wasn't there for quite a few years. But signing to Compulsion Chrysalis has been a complete and utter rejuvenation. A lot of people out there won't understand that, but if you're working with people who respect what you do and want you to get on and do it yourself because they know that we could come out with the goods, then we feel a lot freer, a lot more relaxed, and success comes from that, I think.
So we've been together 12 years. It's a long time in the history of rock and roll for a band to stay together that long. And how did you actually initially all get together, being from various different parts of the United Kingdom?
Well, Stuart and myself both living here, we decided to start the band after Stuart left the Skids, and we were looking for a bass player and drummer, and we tried a few local guys, and it didn't really work out. We'd done a tour with Alice Cooper and it didn't really work out, you know. So our manager, Ian Grant, knew Tony and Mark because they were working with Pete Townsend in London, and he suggested that we all got together. And we'd done some demos for Phonogram Records and just decided that, you know, this should be a band, you know. It was good fun, we all got on sort of immediately with each other, and the music was fantastic, and so we just carried on. No,
it's one of those things when because myself and Mark used to do sessions all the time in London, and I did know Ian Grant from way back, and he phoned us up and said, look, I've got this couple of guys from Scotland come to do some demos, will you at least just come and do the demos so they can get signed? It's just one of those feelings that one gets at a time, thinking, oh, this is really good. You can do a session for people and the music's quite good and the people are sort of a bit not so hot and whatever, but we just had a feeling about this outfit that it could go far. We had lots of offers to join lots of bands at the time, but just a gut instinct told me that this was something that we could see through with pride and dignity. You know, I didn't want to be in a band that was just there to be into rock and roll and all the excesses and all that stuff. I wanted something a bit more real, and definitely found it in this band.
It's nice to see you back, Mark.
Well, this is sorry. I was goalie once over there on a rehearsal.
We used to play football here. We'd sneak out during rehearsals and have a quick kick about.
Keep you fit.
No, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's it should have happened earlier, but things have to do what they do, and you know, the time's good now.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait, can we ask what you're up to in the 2 years in between?
Well, I was doing a lot of session work. I was out with Procol Harum for most of the time. I did an album, and sort of Pete Townsend, his latest album. So I kept busy with session work, but kind of missed being in a band. It's a one-off. This group was a one-off, and being there from the start, it's something you can't describe. Being in a band, you can work with different musicians, and there's a special chemistry when the four of us get together and play, and that was missing. And I'm back now, so it's back there again.
Whoa! Definitely found my true vocation in life. We're still at Dunfermline Football Club. Of course, Stuart Adamson's a big football fan, but the rest of the band actually have got a big history here as well. They used to rehearse here, they used to use the gym here, and after that, they all used to get into the communal bath and soap each other vigorously. I'm not lying. Let's find out what they say about it. Okay, boys, hang on.
So I've got a lot of fond memories of this place. Not all of them recent, I have to say.
Were you brought here as a small boy?
Yeah, I was. The first game I came to, I think, was sometime in the mid-60s, and Alec Ferguson, who's now manager of Manchester United, was the first person I ever saw scoring for Dunfermline.
You're hooked.
Yeah, he's obviously gone on to worse things, I see.
Yes, okay, we won't go on about that. But obviously, I mean, you've practised here, you've been here since you were a wee boy. It's home for you, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I come here regularly, and we used to rehearse here quite a long time ago when the club were actually in the second division, and they used to have a gym under a stand, and we used to use that to rehearse in. So it's got a lot of memories for us. Not for me, not only as a kind of punter here, but as a group as well. You know, we have some fond memories of the place.
In 1986, I think we used to rehearse here.
Jim Leishman was the manager here, and I think he suggested to Stuart, well, we come and use the facilities because it was like off-season, and they've got sort of good gymnasium facility, which is nice and loud to make a big racket down there. So we come here and do about 3 or 4 hours rehearsal, get out on the pitch, have a run around, and then jump into a communal bath where we got to know each other quite well. You can cut that out.
You knew. No way.
What were you known as, the human loofah, was it?
Just a bass player.
There's not a video of that, is there?
No.
Only in my private vaults.
Some things we keep to ourselves.
As we see if we can change some money in changing hands and get a copy of that to slip
We'll
into
do
them.
anything for money. Anything.
Yeah. So we've always supported this club in one way or another, but not the football team.
In the middle of a tour at the moment, I mean, do you find you have to do quite a lot of rehearsing now, or do you know each other so well that you kind of read each other and you've no need to lock yourselves away for a couple of weeks beforehand and twang madly?
Well, if we haven't toured for a while, then obviously you're in a rehearsal situation where we're doing, you know, working out the songs, dissecting it, you know, making it as tight as we can, working out harmonies and things. But once you take a short gap, we have done a small tour before this one, and there's only been a small gap of really like a month, really, I suppose. So it's just a matter of running the set once or twice, and it's like you're back into it again.
I think you can be over rehearsed when you go out on the road. We like to have a lot of places in the set where we improvise and different things happen each night. So once we've kind of learnt the basic core of the songs, you know, where the harmonies go and what kind of bit happens where, then we tend to just drift around and play pinball and stuff and go shopping.
Big country is as much as part of our lives as family life is, so you know you have to learn how to sort of have a cut off somewhere and sort of, right, I'm going to be a family man for 3 weeks, and when I go on the road I shall be a rock and roll star for how many months. You've got to learn to sort of balance it too, and I think we will do that quite well.
So you still enjoy I mean, obviously the promotion that goes behind a new album, and touring and all that. I mean, you love getting up. I mean, playing live, obviously.
Playing live, to me, it's 2.5 hours on stage every night. That's cliche, but that's what does it for me.
It is. I mean, it's emotionally draining, but it satisfies us because we're playing our own music and people are responding to our music, and we're responding to the people responding to the music. And there's nothing better. There's no better sort of feedback that one could get. I mean, things like promotion and stuff like that, and relying on records being played on the radio, that's part of the music industry, which we do tend to shy away from. But let other people do that. People are professional enough to do that sort of stuff. We'll just stand here in front of the cameras being stupid.
So we've always had a very strong relationship with people live. It's really at the heart of what we do as a group is go out and do that very direct communication with people. That's what inspired me to be in a band as a young teenager anyway. I thought, God, there's some place where I can get up and say this, that and the next thing and kind of still hide behind the guitar while I'm doing it.
Is it still fun to get up and pack your bags and go off on a long tour? Because it must be gruelling, to say the least.
It is very gruelling. You can see the effect it's had on us. It's brilliant, yeah. It's what I think all of us as young kids started off learning instruments for, was to be in a band that went out and played live. Sometimes the travelling gets a bit tiring, but once you're out on stage, it's the oldest cliche of all time, isn't it? I mean, once you're out on stage, it's heavy, you know. But it's true, it really is. It's magic.
We certainly wouldn't do the tour without the gigs. That's my theory.
He's right. I can't argue with that.